And welcome back to the weekly update video. This is the update for Friday, June 30th. Upcoming compressed gases and fluid pressure. So this is something people have been looking for. They asked a couple weeks ago what our thoughts were if we wanted compressed gases. It seemed like the vast majority of people wanted compressed gases. So dear Stormworks, in this post we discussed the upcoming change to fluid pressure and new support for compressed gases. This update isn't planned to release for months, but we've been working hard on these mechanics and there is loads to discuss. Context. Players have been asking for compressed gases for years. We recently asked for community feedback regarding if we should rework the mechanic, with the condition that this would mean a change to the way the game works, hopefully for limited effect to existing vehicles. The feedback was overwhelmingly supportive to a rework to add compressed gases. The existing mechanics don't allow air to be contained in custom tanks or be compressed into smaller container. This isn't realistic, but the idea is to make the game simpler. Where a container is already full of air, there is no space for fuel unless you allow air to compress and also allow backflow or add some kind of relief valve. The risk is that, like in real life, plumb systems, you can get airlock where trapped air can block flow. A new approach. Simply adding special compressed air tanks isn't great because it doesn't make sense that the air behaves differently in different containers and it doesn't match up with existing simplified fluid flow and pressure mechanics. So it is better to rework an existing pressure and flow system to generally allow compression and for flow and pressure to also consider compression. Compression and pressure. We're developing a new system where pressure is in real world units, atmospheres. Pressure directly relates to compression, where gas occupies a tenth of the volume at 10 atmospheres compared to 1 atmosphere. By adding compression and directly deriving pressure from this compression, you get a simple system that better reflects the real world. Fluid flows from high pressure to low pressure. The rate of flow is driven by the difference in pressure, and once pressure equalizes, flow stops. Compartments. Custom tanks and sealed areas can now contain air, and this air can be compressed and flow. This makes resolving flow through doors much more complex, but has been interesting to develop. The existing mechanic only allows for fluid to overflow from one compartment through a door to the next. With compressed gases, now you can have gas blow out or rush in, while fluid still needs to level out. This is quite complex. Consider the situation where on one side of a door there is high water level but low pressure, while on the other side there is a lots of highly compressed gas but only a little water. That happens when the door opens moment to moment. Delta height. Within pipe systems currently, delta height equates to pressure. This is a mechanic we plan to remove because of the complexity it introduces how confusing it can be when playing Stormworks, especially with the introduction of compression. By giving compartments a single pressure value, it's a lot easier to play and understand compared to pressure being different based on height inside the compartment. Airlock. If air can no longer be created or destroyed, this does mean that air can be trapped and build up pressure, or a lack of air can mean that the vacuum resists a tank from emptying fluid. This is the downside of the rework, as while it might be realistic, you may sometimes need to understand a bit about pressure and plumbing. We are adding new gas and liquid relief valves to allow air pressure to escape or be drawn back into vacuums to solve this issue. What do you think? Is this a more powerful fluid system or more difficult to play? There is loads more to discuss, but this post is already quite long. We are working on the update, many other new improvements and fixes, as well as major updates and new unannounced DLC. We're looking forward to your thoughts and feedback on this new info. Much love, Stormworks developers. So this sounds really good to me. I'm all for complexity. I know a lot of people who may not have a lot of mechanical and physics understanding may at first be kind of afraid of this. I think this is going to allow us to do a lot more things with our builds. This is going to allow us to create some more intricate systems. And I'll be putting out some tutorials when it comes out and trying to help people who may not understand some of these concepts to help them understand them. You know, whenever you get an increase in complexity, you really need to do a little bit of study on your own, and you need to look at some tutorials to help try to figure out the new systems. And so I would say before you kind of, before you get frustrated, try to reach out there and ask for some help. And I think this pressurization system is going to be quite positive. And I think this will also open up some new doors and avenues for the game in the future. For example, things like pneumatic actuators, pistons, things like hydrostatic systems. I think that's going to be really cool. So sounds like a good update, and I'll see you in the next one.